first podcast in a while because we've all had commitments, one thing and another. We did record a couple that didn't get released. Dave can
get them posted up at some point.
Make the decision on whether they're listenable for a start, and whether they're appropriate anymore, because they were pretty topical, weren't they?
Yeah.
So this episode, we're going to review or have a look back over the last couple of months, the Cumbria Strongest Man event, the Just Grind Scottish Stonelifting Tour, and the bare-knuckle boxing from Saturday night. Discuss what all that means to men in West Cumbria. David?
Well, the 6th strongest 105er in Cumbria.
What a title.
Yeah, so how does that feel to be one of the strongest men in Cumbria for your weight category? Must feel quite satisfactory though.
But do you know what it is? I said in that video, and you know me, I didn't. The plan was to try and win every event, even though I knew I wasn't the strongest in every event. And that's what I tried to do. I didn't try any tactics to sort of just accumulate points. I wanted to win. I thought the log, I obviously overshot my mark, not by much, but I overshot it and didn't get the press on the 115. But the clean went up great both times. Unfortunately, didn't get the. Maybe tactically I should have went for a 112, which because I wanted to win it. That's what this next program's about: hitting that 115 and getting up to a 120. The anvil carry was never a strong point anyhow, to be honest with me. I don't know why, but just my legs just don't work past a certain point. I don't know what it is.
It's a fucking hidden thing to carry. I mean, again, you can't appreciate it till you've done it, can you?
No, not at all.
Play with it. I've never walked it uphill. I've walked it on the flat, and it's fucking horrible. It digs into your arms horribly. Very uncomfortable, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that side of it didn't bother me. The holding it wasn't the problem. It was just my legs, and whether it was just lack of oxygen because it was crushing my lungs, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what benefits the likes of Aiden and Ash had that I didn't have. You know,
very interesting, isn't it? You know, like the differences.
Deadlifts went better than I could have hoped for. 9 reps. Ideally, would have liked to have got to double figures, but well happy with 9, even though.
Man, to be fair, all the guys from our gym had a massive overperformance in deadlift, I thought. I mean, everyone, compared to what people had done in training, and considering you'd all just done that fucking anvil carry for a max, I thought the deadlift was outstanding from everyone.
Yeah, dropped points on the hold. I think I came last in the hold, which I think knocked me down quite a few positions. But hey ho, that's the way it goes. And won the last event, so can't argue with that really. It was all very tight, wasn't it? And
it was super. The 105s was so competitive.
Yeah, really good. And I think Ben said it. Said really pleased for Ash getting the 3rd, considering he was the lightest.
Yeah, brilliant.
But
outstanding performances all around, wasn't it? I think from absolutely every single competitor. And I know you've got to say things like that when you're the promoter, but I did think everybody sort of went balls to the wall, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Brandon. Well, even in the rain, the rain was unbelievable, wasn't it? And the crowd were awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, it was it was Rowan who kept the crowd going because.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's an absolute star, isn't he?
He kept the crowd going, and the crowd kept the competitors going. I think, it was great, and that's why you need an MC like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what else I think kept you all going. I think the camaraderie between the athletes is brilliant, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
The level of sort of mutual respect and stuff like that. It's brilliant to watch. There's some brilliant photos from like before the show of you all just stood around outside the tent having a crack in that. And you can, like I say, you can see that sort of camaraderie and that. It's brilliant. You don't get that in all sports, do you?
No, it's a lot different. Obviously, for obvious reasons, a lot different to fight shows, isn't it?
Oh, another world.
You cut the atmosphere with a knife. I mean, obviously there was a bit of tension in the air anyway, but it was all good spirited and there was no ego involved. Everybody just wanted everybody to give 100%.
Yeah, which everybody wants to see each other perform, don't they?
Because you get the best out of everybody, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Brilliant.
So that was a successful event. I don't know if you've had any feedback from the punters and that, but
honestly, I was second year on trot, isn't it? And nothing but good feedback from people. People saying they absolutely loved it. Like I say, even like not even dampened by the weather. Turnout was unbelievable, wasn't it? The video, if anybody's watching this and they haven't seen already, the video's on my channel. It's had about 3,000 views as well, which is awesome, isn't it? So, and it draws well for look if you've got any interest in strength sports. I think again we put a good show on in terms of like production quality, don't we? It looks good. A lot of strongman shows are just in car parks and stuff. We are absolutely blessed with having Rivendell as a venue, aren't we?
yeah. You see the Iceland Strongest Man. It was on at the weekend. It's a 2-day event, and that's held in like an industrial park next to Thor's gym. And then the second day is down, near an overpass. For a place like Iceland, which is about 1,000 times more beautiful than Lake District.
Yeah,
they picked the most industrial looking barren places, and your show looked a shit ton better.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? I think like I say, I'm always really proud of the strongman shows. I think the kit's brilliant, isn't it? We're always really lucky with the sponsors. The sponsors are brilliant and like pay for most of the kit. Those costs way more than you could make on ticket sales. You couldn't buy all that kit on the money you get off tickets with everything else you're going to pay for. So the sponsors make a massive difference. Got King of the Stands coming up as well, haven't we? Big strongman show at Honister. I'm going up there again this week to shoot some promo videos and that. I'm taking Jack and Carl and possibly Dan McNick as well. So we'll see them to absolute Goliaths throwing some big bits of slates about. Get under that bottom of your stone. I want to see if I can actually lift it and move it anywhere before them to run all over the spot with it. And yeah, so that's like 6 weeks away, isn't it? So I'm just getting everything in place for that.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
Alex is just weird. I don't know what's happened. Are you still there now?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh man, I'm like flying solo.
Can you not hear me, Dave? It's still recording.
Yeah, I can hear you, but like the picture's all gone dead and stuff. Oh, you're back. Oh, he's back. There we go. I'll edit that bit out. I'm good at that now. Can't remember what we were saying though.
Well, we're talking about the Stones event in September.
Yeah, really excited about that. I think because it's going to look really dramatic, isn't it? The venue's absolutely unbelievable. And when we get it lit all up with bonfires and stuff for the final events, I think it'll look like something from sort of like Stone Age days, won't it? Something really primitive.
It's a throwback, isn't it? So
absolutely. And the bunch of guys we've got doing it as well. Got folk coming literally from the length and breadth of the country. Got a lad coming up from, I think Bristol's the furthest anyone's travelling. But level of interest in it's been awesome. The folk that I've got in touch that I want to do it are all absolutely blown away by how cool it looks. And again, it's just something so visually spectacular, isn't it? Exciting to be on something like that, something so different. And I don't think there's going to either have been a strongman show in this country with a venue and like a setting as dramatic as that. It's going to be awesome to take part in. So the lads taking part in it, it's going to be fucking awesome. The kit's looking unbelievable. I was actually talking to the lad that made it at the Bare-Knuckle show the other night. You know, the lad that made the Buttermere stone.
Oh, okay, right.
And he's really enjoying it. You know what? He's really enjoying making the stuff for it because it's such a cool, interesting thing to be doing compared to what he's normally doing. Probably not normally making like sort of things for gardens and that, innit? So I'm making some of this. Stones came in, it was originally between 140 and 150 kilos, but it's actually came in at 163. So it's a big old fucking lump in it, and it's about 3.5 all of it's there. I'll take some carrying.
Aye.
And speaking of big stones, let's get on to the main topic of the thing. Because the biggest thing, I think, was the stone lifting tour we've just been on, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I guess the interest for stone lifting, I mean, I don't know if you had it previous to this, but it started around lockdown, didn't it, when we were struggling for the gym?
Yeah, I've been interested in it before. But again, like always just wrapped up in the gym and doing what you're doing in there. you don't really get a chance to get out and actually do it because you're always that bashed up from training all week. It's just what you don't get around to doing, isn't it? But when lockdown come, there was no other options. So that very first day, you could train like with someone else outside. Me and Dan went down to the shore and found what. And now, honestly, the stones that felt like big stones there, like honestly, you wouldn't even walk with them. But they felt pretty big at the time. And you know, booming surf and glorious sunshine, and just picking big rocks up on the beach, and it was all windy and stuff. Like a windy, surfy, like sunny day. It was perfect. Felt great, and we all just got into it, didn't we? There's something like sort of primal about it, isn't there? The fact that like you know that for thousands of years, that's how men have tested the strength. I honestly think, for what I know about strength training and things like that, I think the truest form of natural strength, the truest form of strength is picking up like a natural stone. Whoever can sort of lift, you know, you take like a selection of natural stones, all of a big weight, and get a bunch of strong guys together, and the strongest guys who can lift them. You know, a few odd shapes. Out the stones are very uniform, aren't they? But the natural stones are different, aren't they, because of the balance. It's an awesome thing to be involved in, isn't it? When you look at the history of it, and you just look at some of the events there is as well, and the crack that goes around it. It's a very niche sport, isn't it?
Yeah. I think
so niche. I think it's such a small community. People are so friendly, aren't they? And I think everyone's sort of chuffed to find somebody else that's into it.
So we I mean, it grew with us down at Isabella Road, didn't it? Obviously, I mean, I know you and Ash were down there before I was involved in that. We'd lifting the stones and obviously a few others, and then it kind of gradually grew, and the stones got bigger and heavier, and we've kind of started doing different things with them. And then it was suggested that we do a stone lifting tour. Didn't really know much about it at the time, but we had to look into it. And there's actually like you say, a niche website that sort of covers it all. Covers quite a lot of them in Europe, and it's run by a fella called Jamie. I don't know what his surname is.
Is it Gorian?
Is it
Gorian? I think.
Big Scottish lad, and that's what we based this recent Scottish lifting.
Big sexy granddad on Instagram.
Big sexy granddad, yeah.
Interested.
Big strong fella, and that's what we based our stone lifting tour off in Scotland. So it was 3 days of basically touring right up to the Highlands of Scotland, stopping off at various points. I think the round trip was about 700 or 800 miles altogether. Like back and forth a few times on the same road.
Just 3 solid days of driving around in cars to the next place, lifting stones, and then driving to the next one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Followed by 2 nights of a quick bit of dinner and getting on the piss for a bit, wasn't it? Brilliant. But it was intensive graft, wasn't it? It was a tight 2 days.
We knew it was going to be tough, didn't we? Because whenever we've done a run of those stones up at Rivendell, the 5 stones, it kind of just wipes you out for the rest of the day. And they vary from like 80 kilograms to 130. Whereas these were like, some of them were smooth as glass, some of them were odd shaped, but they were all from like 99 kilos up to 163.
Yeah, that's 163, yeah.
Yeah. And the first stop was Sheriff Muir, which I think was pretty new to the to the stone sort of agenda. There was like 6 stones there, some that you could warm up with well within our capability. Then it got heavier, 120, 132, and then 163, and it was like fucking hell. And then Ben just clicked out of one and managed to lap one. And you might look at, and for people that don't know, they might just look at things and think, oh, fucking hell, he only got it to his knees. But
yeah, some of it, if you don't actually know what's involved, it doesn't actually look that impressive, does it? To probably a lot of people. But honestly, I would get anybody to take the Pepsi challenge and tell us it isn't hard. Anybody who thinks they're a bit strong, any lads that train in the gym and that, if you think it doesn't look hard, put your money where your mouth is and come and show us. It's an open invite, isn't there? Anybody come and train with us?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah.
Interested in stone lifting If you've got so little going on in your life that picking up large rocks with middle-aged men seems appealing, just give us a shout on here or Insta or anywhere, and we'll sort. You can come train with us.
Yeah.
Right.
Most middle-aged men, you know, get a new tattoo or get a new haircut or a new car. We just like.
Now that brilliantly brings us to my main point of this trip. So 10 of us went, didn't we? And it's hard, isn't it? Now most of us are in our 40s, and it's hard getting all the boys together for an occasion to do anything. It's hard to get a night out sorted, isn't it, with everybody? So getting everybody together for a 3-day trip, you know, like folk have got to get a pass off the missus and that, and not have out boots. So that was brilliant, wasn't it? But it's so important, isn't it? Because everyone enjoyed it so much.
Oh yeah.
Tell you what, I bet everybody's missus had a fucking great break, because I know mine did. But it's very important, isn't it, in this day and age, to do things like that with your friends. If you look back through history, we're designed to do stuff with groups of mates, like go hunting or go raiding or go off to battle and things like that. You're designed to do something with a bunch of mates that's physically arduous, something that gives you a sense of fulfillment, something where, you know, where there's a bit of a point. You know, we did that. I said on that video a bit ago about young kids, didn't I? You know, like get your fucking ass out of bed. It's probably the same for middle-aged men to get your fucking ass off the sofa, because you're watching the last decent years of your life go by, aren't you? You know, like I'm sure you're as conscious as me, because you're nearly as old as me. Like, we won't be hossing big rocks about forever and doing it all forever, will we? And one day we'll all be knackered old fucks. And a lot of people that we know, a lot of people our age, will be sort of crying over missed opportunities, wishing that they'd done things, won't they?
Yeah.
You know, you look at all the mental health problems people have got now, and a lot of it's to do with modern life, isn't it? And it's because men are completely unfulfilled. Because if all you do is go to work and go home and sit on the sofa and have a few cans or a glass of wine and go to bed and do that every day, that isn't living a fucking life, is it? It's like being a fucking ant or being like a fucking robot. And there's no fulfillment in that life, is there? Again, what we see is the only what passes for fulfillment in that life is a weekend on the drink and the sniff, isn't it? And that is not the answer to your fucking problems neither. That is not going to make you happy long run, is it? You know, you need to find something to do with your fucking life and do something that gives you that bit of fulfillment, that makes you feel like you've done something worthwhile. And that's worth respecting. That gives you a bit of self-respect. And I think that's what, you know, like, I mean, that's just our normal lifestyle, isn't it? But having like a weekend away, doing it, you know, just having that full weekend of nothing but, you know, a bit of lads. All those shit jokes, you know, like all the shit cracks. You being generally irritated by me for most of the trip, probably, you know, all them little bits. They're great, aren't they? And you know, it's one of the, again, I think everyone said, one of the best things anyone's done in fucking ages. And again, you compare that to what most men spend their life doing, and they're just wasting their fucking lives, I think. And people will pull a face along and say, oh, that's all well and good for you because you like lifting stones. You don't have to lift fucking stones. You just need to do something that gives you that bit of fulfillment, something that you've got to earn, something you've got to work for, something, and go and do it with a bunch of mates and see how good you'll feel.
Yeah, no, that's right. And it wasn't easy. I mean, we've got some strong lads in that group of 10, by the way. They've got two 50-year-old fellas who are very, very strong. But they have to earn the stripes. They didn't just wake up one day and think and know that they were strong. They've had to practice and do whatever.
Everyone on the trip's been training for years, haven't they?
Exactly.
You know, everyone has literally been training hard for years. And if you hadn't have done, you know, nobody would have done that, would they? No stones. You couldn't just rock up and lift them. Not at all.
Well, that's the idea behind them. And obviously, a lot of them had the history of the clans, and you had to. It was like a rites of passage, wasn't it?
They're called the Man-Stones, aren't they?
Yeah. So there was a purpose behind it, and there's a history behind it. And obviously, some of them are hundreds of years old, some of them are thousands of years old, and it's like well, we've done that as part of history now. We've actually picked them up.
The
Well,
historical thing, you know, and we've all got a bit of ego, haven't we? The historical thing's brilliant, isn't it? I think. Like, I really wanted to lift the Fianna stone, didn't I? Because it's the oldest, and I love that crack. And again, people won't know what the Fianna stone is, so I'll swiftly tell you. 2,000 years ago, one of the tests for becoming a Fianna warrior was lifting the Fianna stone. It's 127 kilos. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have thought, in my own ego, that at 46, with all the wear and tear I've had and whatnot, that I was still strong enough to lift that. And I failed, didn't I? Got it onto my lap. Probably more than I actually realistically expected. So I was quite happy with that. Great motivator, the way. Because, like, I'll get it next time, one.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, that's one thing, like, I think, again, we all came away super motivated, didn't we? And again, with new goals. And then new goals, again, will lead to more of them feelings of fulfillment and keep us all being happy campers, won't it?
Yeah. You know what the funniest takeaway, or not, it's not even funny, it's just an observation, I guess. The fact that the weight doesn't really matter that well. It obviously matters, but
Yeah.
there's a key ingredient of the shape of the stone that you're picking up into.
I fucking hate them round things.
Because there was 2 or 3, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Spherical and smooth. And
Impossible.
there was one of them that was lighter than the Fianna stone.
Oh, yeah.
One fat.
A couple lighter that I couldn't do a thing with.
Castle Menzies, wasn't it? The Castle Menzies stone, 115 kilos. The Fianna stone was 127.
Yeah.
And fucking hell, it felt like 1,000 kilograms, didn't it? Trying to pick it off the floor. Jesus
Even the
Christ.
Darwin at 102.
Yeah.
Change out to that. Just like, right, I just can't get out of them. Don't know what it is. But again, something to work on, isn't it?
Yeah. So it was a good weekend of toxic masculinity, torn forearms, and whatever else.
Well, I lost a bit of clarity and that, didn't they? Everybody got a few bumps and bruises. Everybody was fucked on Monday. Everybody was tired. But again, physically fucked, but mentally feeling fantastic. Loads of good memories, and it really was good for the soul, wasn't it? The amazing scenery, the places we went. And you know what, like the people that came to watch, like at Castle Menzies, there was the people doing the castle too, and they all stopped in the windows to watch them. Of people coming over and asking, like, what are you doing? what are you doing, you bunch of weird cunts? All fucking clapping for each other. Leaving the fucking big daft stone in a car park. You silly old fuckers. Look at them silly old cunts over there.
They must be English. That's what.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
So that was like it's been like a bit of a throwback, hasn't it, to sort of pre-industrial times, and I think that's a good thing. The more options we've got to do that kind of stuff, the better it is for the community. I mean, the interest that's been shown in the strongman events, the interest you're getting in the King of the Stones from all around the country. It's obviously everything's grown in reputation. There's more stone competitions in Scotland. There's that one in where's the Battle of Mercia, or whatever you call it.
I'm not sure where Mercia was at. It's down south somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sussex sort of way.
Yeah, I think it was like the bottom southeastern corner of England, wasn't it? But yeah, so it's definitely grown in popularity, and I love it. My favourite event, well, the one that I was looking forward to the most at the Strongman was the Stones.
Yeah.
To be honest. But another throwback to pre-industrial times, David.
That link was fantastic. That was fluid.
Segue. Was the first ever West Cumbrian bare-knuckle show.
Yeah, brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. It was really well put together, dead professional.
Yeah.
The crowd was better behaved than I thought it would be. Obviously, there was plenty of warnings about dress code and behaviour and stuff like that. So I knew that the tolerance level would be low. So
yeah, no, it was brilliant. I thought the atmosphere was great. I thought some of the fights were absolutely brilliant. There was a couple of absolute terribles, wasn't there? Obviously, brilliant view refereeing it, being right on top of it. Some of the shots on it, I bet if somebody had videoed my face all night, you'd have seen us go like, because some of them You know, you can hear the cracks. You know,
Oh, yeah.
being yourself and being in the corner and that. It's fucking sickening, isn't it? And it's surprising the damage that bare fists do compared to boxing gloves. Well, it isn't. I mean, I think if you know anything about fighting, it's what you'd expect. But maybe like to the untrained eye and that, you know, like a very little shot that doesn't look much. If some bony hits you on here, it all comes up or it all opens up or something, doesn't it? So there's a few stopped on cuts and that, wasn't there? It does sort the men from the boys, the bare knuckle, doesn't it?
Oh, Christ, aye. It's never something I fancied, I'll be brutally honest. I don't even know if I'd have fancied it when I was younger. I doubt I would have. But you've got to tip your hat, even to the ones that just look like they were swinging for the fences, to get in there and do a bit. I mean, there was a couple of dubious sort of competitors who, I don't know, from outside the ring, you'd have thought they could have carried on.
Aye.
In all honesty, but
well, it's like we've said, though, isn't it? People think they're tough. They think they want to fight bare knuckle, but when you get a bare fist right in the fucking tooth or the eye, that might just change your mind about how good of an idea it was. Because I think a lot of people get into fights as well, and they think, oh yeah, like knocking someone out's going to be great, but they don't think about the other side of the equation, do they? They don't think what it's like to get a fucking pace in front of a big crowd. And it's an uncomfortable situation to be in, isn't it? And you do see some lads who the pleased to have a way out. You know, they want to get tagged and get out of there as quick as they can.
But
and
there was
the other, Will Carlisle, one of the toughest fucking lads you will ever see. He was like the Terminator, wasn't he? And honestly, again, some of the shots, I felt myself pull a face as they landed. You know, like with shock, like, oh.
He's going to have a sore head, isn't he?
Fucking getting up, didn't he? He's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, fair play to him.
Tough lad. And again, when you see the bits like that fight was fucking so good to ref. Being right on top of that, like, because again, they can both actually fight. They've both been in there a bunch of times. Will Cairns is very, very good.
He's really good.
There's some brilliant stuff.
Tiny boxer him.
Yeah, he is. Let's say nearly 1,000 fights, which is berserk, isn't it? Incredibly tough game, lad. You name a type of fight, and if there's enough money on offer, he'll fucking fight it like against anybody. I would say he's one of them. Next, Sean Lomas look picky. But yeah, that was a brilliant. The main event was good. 2 ex-professional boxers in the main event. That was good. That was good to ref. Good to ref like lads of a high caliber. You always expect to referee like it's a starter show, isn't it? You've got lads making the debut, and that's always going to be a bit rough and scrappy. But as you went further up the bill, some of the fights were really good, like Will and Will. That wasn't scrappy at all. And like I say, the main event, they were both nice, classy boxers, weren't they? Actually, a shame. Do you know what? I was disappointed that it finished early. One of them got cracked with her right hand and got split there. And I got the doctor in and she stopped it. But you know, he had the makings of a bit of a fight. You could kind of see who was going to win, or I thought you could. But I would have liked to have seen it go. I'd like to have seen it go the 5 rounds and see what happened. But that's the thing with the bare knuckle, isn't it? Our man Bartek was very good. Picked up his a shiny belt, won a lightweight title. Never got hit once, I don't think. And that was the biggest thing going into that. Because you've got to make them miss, haven't you? You can't be taking them, no matter how tough you are. Yeah, very happy with that. Mission accomplished with that. He's worked super hard. He's probably the hardest worker in the gym. He's always in and he's always grafting. Got his just rewards there, didn't he? And onwards and upwards. And we're hoping at some point to get him onto that BKFC. Talking to Danny Christie, and Danny's going to come through and train at ours a bit, and I think we're going to go through there and take Bartek through the spar with him and train with him. And hopefully that maybe open a few doors for him as well.
Yeah, cool.
Maybe a bigger fight, some bigger shows. So, yeah, all been good. It's been a good couple of weekends, hasn't it? Been a pretty exciting few weeks.
It's been a busy couple of months for, getting back to pre-industrial toxic masculinity, yeah?
It has. Lots of masculine activities. Which
is good, because these bastards in charge just want to make you weak as piss and emotional and sick.
But
it's never ending.
Mate.
No.
Not in Cumberland.
We're going to have to build a wall around Cumbria.
Keep it strong and masculine.
Yeah. Just.
Real independence.
No,
Although I think
Republic.
our little bit of the community, you look around our small community, like our friends and that, it's fucking great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a toxically masculine little community, isn't it?
Well, that's what you should be looking to do, because we're obviously getting too old to be competing in these rough old sports. But if you can still keep your hand in at summit and still influence the lads that are coming up, that's what you
I think
decide
it's
to do.
important. Like the young lads in the gym look up to both you and I and Ben and Kelly and that, as older lads and that. You've got to give them something to look up to.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't just be a fucking fat, useless sack of shit talking about your past glories, can you? I think it's important to, to set a bit of a standard. Like fucking, you can't just be do as I say, can you? You've got to show something. Like, you have got to be a role model, haven't you? And it's super important. And again, the most important part of what we do now is being role models, isn't it? Because you want more real men to come through. We want more masculine men to come through, don't we? So I think it's important, like hopefully with the stone lifting bit, hopefully more people will get involved. Hopefully a few younger lads will get involved. I think Drew was youngest at 25, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Hopefully a few more young ones will get involved, because again, we won't be able to do it forever, will we? So you keep going. I want that whole thing to keep going. That's why I'm trying to get the Cumbrian stones listed on that lifting stones dog. We have the Cumberland stones that we have a Cumbria's strongest man listed, and the honester ones that we're having for King of the Stones. And the honester ones will be just there for people to go and lift. And I think you're gonna if you can lift, if you can do the stone run, you'll get a little slate plaque with your name on and the date saying that you've completed it. Not many folk will do it though, because it goes to 160 natural stone. So it'll take a bit of doing, but again, it'd be a great thing to do, wouldn't it, if you're strong enough?
Of course.
And hopefully, people who are into stone lifting and that will come to the area. It'll hopefully be a bit of a tourist attraction and that, and just be generally good for the area. And again, like anyone who is local, it might interest them just in a bit of stone lifting, might interest them in a bit of real strength training. And if it does, that's another brilliant knock-on effect, isn't it? I think trying to the community, aren't we?
It'll hopefully give folk a sense of purpose. We were talking about the Colonel the other day about how he did find a bit of a path when he came into the gym.
Yeah,
that's the type of.
Hasn't he?
And nobody will know who we're talking about here, by the way. But it's just we needn't go into the details, but it just gives certain people a bit of purpose, and it's just rather than losing themselves to hedonism.
It gives us all a sense of purpose. Not just some of us, does it?
There we go.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
What would we be doing without it?
Exactly.
Go back 27 years and take martial arts out of your life, and where would you be at now? I dread to fucking think. I dread to think where I'd be at. I don't know what I'd be fucking doing myself, because I'd be fucking useless. Because that's what gives me discipline.
But you can see it, can't you? What's that quote? I looked it up. It was a meme off that. It was like a Dan Bilzerian meme.
Oh yeah.
I think it's actually a quote, isn't it? By Viktor Frankl. That guy that spoke to you about. He wrote the Man's Search for Meaning.
Oh yeah.
He committed it all to memory when he was in one of the concentration camps in Germany during the war, and it was I forgot what it is now. That's good timing, isn't it? That's how my memory works.
Yeah, I did a minute ago.
Yeah, it's a good job I've written it down, isn't it? So it's essentially a man without meaning or a man without purpose will distract himself with pleasure, and it couldn't be more true of modern times, could it?
Well, think of what we said about how most people spend the weekends here.
Mm.
Because they've got no purpose, so all they've got is to go out and get twisted, isn't it? How it is. And do you know, I've spent weekends going out doing that, but it's not like something to build your life on, is it?
No.
Be your purpose for a life, can it? Do you know? I always say, work hard, play hard. I think when you've done your bit, you deserve the party. Like we all drank more than we expected to, didn't we? I said to folk, I was like, we won't be getting on the pace. We're lifting stones every day. We're keeping ourselves right and that. And then you're going, should we have a double? And I'm going, fucking right. Because we had an arduous day, hadn't we? It had been a long day, and you're blowing a bit of steam off at the end of it. Again, that getting a group of mates together, we don't do it very often. So it's worth a few beers, isn't it?
Yeah, and plus, the 10 of us, we've only been in that gym environment, haven't we? It was just a good crack to be outside of the gym environment.
Because again, that's what sometimes folk don't realise. Like, we see each other all the time. We're always fucking sweating and grunting and picking things up and putting them down and carrying heavy stuff and that. So you don't always have time for a crack, do you?
Oh, exactly.
It's good to get a proper social, isn't it? We're all on the fucking next.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the takeaway from this? Find your purpose. Get some meaning in your life.
Absolutely. Find a purpose, find something you like, find something that challenges you. Get off your fucking sofa, put the cans down. Don't be spending your weekends getting twisted. Sort your fucking self out.
And check out liftingstones.org for more information about the Scottish.
And like and subscribe to hear us talk more shite, and also see lots of exciting strongman stuff.
Oh yeah, and if you find yourself feeling a little bit frugal, contact Dave about sponsorship for the King of the Stones tournament. I'm sure you could do with a few more sponsors, Dave, couldn't you?
Absolutely could. More sponsors means a better show.
There we go.
Spend more money on more stuff. The plan for King of the Stones, I'm not planning on making any money out of this. I just want to make this look as awesome as I fucking can. So anything I make will be going into the show just being awesome. I want to really build a big event. So fingers crossed it all goes swingingly.
What's the date?
September 23rd. September 23rd, Honest to Man. First event around 3 o'clock. It's going to run into the evening, so we can light it all up with bonfires and make it look really cool and dramatic.
Awesome.
Right?
The end.